Welcome to my sci-fi short romance stories. I hope you enjoy Death or Romance.
Corporal Kent Hudson of the Space Marines was flying through a sector of known space that had been on the Marines' radar with violent activity as of late. They had received reports of raids throughout this sector. Although small, that was usually a precursor to something much larger shortly after. Kent was adjusting the scanner and flew through Area 87K23LN, slowly looking for anything out of the ordinary. He caught a blip on a moon. It was a distress beacon from a Flyman Royal vessel. Kent rushed to the location of the beacon. As he positioned to land, he was engulfed in heavy firepower. His fighter was destroyed and hurtled to the surface. He fought with the G-force to eject before he was burned alive and smashed into the surface of the moon. He was just able to push the button and was sent shooting up in the air. Two small cargo containers were ejected as well. Just before he impacted the ground, he engaged his thrust boosters, and his jetpack burst to life, and he softly landed on the surface. He looked around the area for signs of any enemy coming for him. Satisfied that there was none, he made his way over to the small cargo containers. He opened them and grabbed the energy shields, pulse rifles, food tablets, first aid kits, swords, and knives. He quickly began to place everything in its designated spots on his armor. He opened the wrist computer and looked for the distress beacon. It was about one click to his left. He glanced at the distress beacons on the small cargo containers. The lights were pulsing. That meant they were sending out the signal. Well, I can only hope that it reaches my unit and they come quickly. He made his way to the downed Fleming ship. After 30 minutes, he had found the ship. There was a Draco ship that landed next to the ship. Kent squinted his eyes. Fucking lizard-faced bastards. I should have known that they were behind this shit. A smaller Draco ran over to the leader. Commander Crow, the Marine is not at the downed ship. He is around somewhere. Crow roared out in anger and kicked the underling to the ground. All you egg-sucking, worthless bastards, go now and look for the Marine. We cannot have him messing this up. Find him, and we shall feast on human flesh tonight. They all roared with delight and began to spread out, looking for Kent. The scout that Crow kicked to the ground was left behind to guard the Fleming woman. Once they were all out of sight, Kent engaged his cloaking armor. He slowly made his way over to the Draco that was sitting on a cargo container. Kent pulled his knife out and worked his way behind the Draco. Once in position, he reached out and covered the lizard's face and slit its throat. The greenish-red tinted blood sprayed out, and the Draco shook and fought as his life force ejected from his body. Seconds later, the Draco's eye went to a milky white and he went limp. Kent looked around for any other danger. Satisfied that there was none, he made his way over to the Flyman woman. He grabbed her and flung her over his shoulders. He began to run from the ships. He looked for a place for them to hide as he ran. After an hour, he found a cave that was just large enough for them to enter and would slow down any Draco who would try to come in. He reached into a pouch and pulled out 2 silver balls. Activating them, he tossed them into the cave. 5 minutes later, they came back. The cave was empty, and about 20 feet in, the cave opened up into a large cavern. He put the Fleming woman down. It was then that he realized just who he had just rescued. Princess Flora, I apologize for the roughness that I used to rescue you. I needed to operate quickly and did not have time to see who you were. There is a cave right here. Please go in, and I will follow you. I need to secure you and get ready for a possible long stay and to defend you. A hypnotizing smile formed on the purple and pink-skinned face. She was breathtakingly beautiful. She nodded and slowly made her way through the cave entrance. Once they entered the large cavern, Kent pulled out a white box with a red and a green button on it. He placed it on the ground, facing the entrance. He pushed the green button. The device hummed, and then a 3D projection emitted from the device. It had made a copy of the chamber and projected it to show an empty cavern. It emitted sound dampers and scent-hiding frequencies that hid them from the outside world. Once he was happy that it was working properly, he moved to the center of the chamber. He pulled out another device and pressed the green button. He tossed it on the floor, and suddenly a small building was erected. Once it was done, he set up 4 sentry-repeating pulse rifle turrets that were placed into key locations to provide them with a 360-degree cover. He motioned for Flora to enter the building. They entered the building. Kent took his helmet off and placed it on a hook next to the door. He went to the monitor at a table. He logged it and the views from the turrets. He typed in a command code, and 20 fly-sized drones emerged from the building and left the cave. The views from them could be seen on the second monitor. They were searching for any Draco and would provide monitoring of their movements and location. Once all the monitoring equipment was active and the sentries were up and running, Kent got out of his chair. He walked over to Flora. He noticed the fear in her eyes. He gently took her hand into his. She looked up into his eyes. Kent smiled. "Are you okay, my lady?" Her purple skin began to darken, and her pink skin began to illuminate.
Yes, thank you.
Kent knew that this change was the Fleming way of blushing. This caught him off guard and was alluring to him. He motioned with a hand. "That is the bathroom, and there is the bedchamber. You may take the bedchamber because I will not be needing it. I will be standing guard over you until we are rescued." Then he brought her attention to another area. "That is the nourishment station. It is not the best tasting, but it will keep you alive." They spent the next 2 weeks evading the Draco. Slowly, Kent was able to kill them all. The leader made to escape one day, and as much as Kent and Flora needed that ship to leave, Kent could not let Draco leave and bring back a force large enough to capture them. Kent blew the ship with the leader up. That decision weighed heavily on his heart, but it was soothed with the soft touch from Flora. Her touch was comforting and relaxing. Kent melted into her hand when she placed it on his cheek. Seconds later, they were removing each other's clothes, and for the first time for both of them, they intertwined with a lover and became one. The day was spent enjoying each other's passions for one another, and it was magical. It was another 4 weeks before they were rescued. Kent's battlecruiser had found them, and they both had mixed feelings about being rescued. It was both relieving and painful. They had fallen in love with each other and knew that by being rescued that they would never get to see each other again. They both got onto the transport ship. Officers began to cater to Flora. They were separated, and they could not help but stare into each other's eyes with sadness and concern. Kent's sergeant major walked up next to him. He looked at him, then her. He chuckled. "Damn, son, you got yourself into a pickle again." Kent looked over and saw who was talking to him. He straightened up. "Sorry, Sergeant Major, I did not see you there." Sergeant Major chuckled.
Kent, relax. How long have we been friends?
Kent smiled. "A long time, Bill, a very long time." Bill sniffed the air.
Kent, you would have outranked me long ago, but you seem to have a knack for getting into trouble. Look what that has gotten you. You are the most highly decorated, feared, and respected Marine, yet you are but a corporal. When are you going to stop being you and losing rank?
Before Kent could reply, a large figure came from the shadows. It was Prax, Flora's father, king of Praxis. He went to greet his daughter, but froze. Shock covered him, and his purple skin changed to a red color, and his pink skin glowed in a red light. He looked at Flora.
"What have you done, daughter? Who defiled you?"
Bill then turned to Kent. Kent hissed,
"Fuck."
King Prax rushed over to Kent.
"You defiled my daughter, and now she is carrying your child."
Kent's eyes enlarged. What, she is pregnant? King Prax threw his hands up in the air.
"What am I going to do with you, daughter? No possible match will want you now. You are impure."
He turned to Kent.
"Do you know what you have done? You have defiled my daughter, whom I was going to offer to Prince Freck of Haran. Their marriage would have gained me power over the space fuel depot. Now that is not the case. You screwed things up, human."
Flora's color had changed to red.
"Enough, father. I am not a tool for you to use. I am your daughter. I love Kent and he loves me. I chose him. I will be his life mate. We will be as one for the rest of our lives."
She fought free from the officers around her and ran to Kent's arms. Kent secured her close to him. King Prax was irate. Before he could say something, Kent spoke up. "King Prax, I love your daughter, and knowing that she is carrying my child makes me love her even more. There is something about me that only one other person on this ship knows. I am Prince Kent Hudson of New Iceland. We control the rights to all space fuel, diamonds, and genetic splicing programs. I joined the Space Marines to learn how to be an effective combat prince and therefore be better enabled to defend my people. Before you utter another word in anger, I advise you to look up what I have just told you to verify what I have just told you. I will marry Flora and secure an agreement between our people." A small Fleming male walked up and whispered into King Prax's ear. King Prax's eyes enlarged, and he quickly turned to Kent.
"Prince Hudson, forgive my outburst. I should not have jumped to conclusions about you."
"My love, would you have me as your life mate and live with me in my home?" rule at my side and usher in a new era for our people." She kissed him passionately and agreed. They were wed and ruled over their lands with honor and were loved by all. They brought New Iceland into an era of prosperity. They have several children from whom they gained power throughout all known space.